This is a really special conversation for me because when I first started as a journalist in the gaming industry, I was all of, I think, 13 years old or something like that, living up in Toronto, Canada. And the first game I ever wrote an article about for a magazine, it was called Strategy Plus Magazine, I think in 1993, was a game called Sim Farm. And it came from the man you're about to meet. And I got to spend time with him when I was a teenager, and I always said to people that it was, when I was going through high school and college, it was always so fascinating to get a chance to step into the mind of the great Will Wright, creator of course, SimCity, but so many other great games over the years. So without further ado, it's my honor to reunite with one of the video game's most legendary designers, one of its brightest minds, and I'm honored to have him here with us. Please welcome Will Wright. Mr. Wright, good to see you, my friend.
It's been a long time.
It's been far too long, but we're glad to have you back at E3. I was going to say, you probably haven't been to E3 in quite some time, right?
Yeah, it's been years, actually.
Well,
my memory of E3 is like you're sitting inside the show floor in a little room doing interview after interview, and like in a bunker in Bosnia with the rumbling. And, so I go hoarse after about 2 days, and so good memories.
Because you were probably last time you were here, it was probably what, Spore stuff, or what were you here
Probably,
for?
yeah.
Wow. Yeah. Well, again, you've been to all the early E3s, but it's great to have you back here, and I'm just fascinated to hear kind of where you're at in your journey of kind of creating and building games. Because, again, like there was a long stretch where you were doing a lot of games consistently, Maxis, EA, and then, went off to Stupid Fun Club, lots of other great things.
Yeah.
But now you've sort of been drawn back to games after a bit of a break, right?
Yeah, it's for me, this is more recreation now. I'm working with a small team of people that I've known for a long time. So it's like just a very enjoyable situation, less pressure. But also I'm kind of working on something that's just out there, I don't worry about, the marketing people and all that stuff.
When you look at the industry now and where games are, how much do you follow, Ninja streaming on Twitch and what's happening with esports? And I mean, it's like, is this...
well, we have 3 boys at home,
Yes.
like 9, 13, and 19.
Yes.
So I kind of watch what they play, what they're attracted to. And, a lot of it's just mainstay, like Minecraft, for the 9-year-old, 13-year-olds in a Kerbal Space Program.
Okay.
So I follow those kind of things. And I'm still stuck on World of Tanks, I'm old school. But, then, my new project, I'm kind of trying to just do something that interests me. And, in terms of where the industry's going and what's happening, I don't follow it that closely. And it kind of surprises me that people think that I know where the games are going, the future of games,
Yeah.
So I was going to ask you why you think that I know about the future of games.
Well, part of it is I think it's, for so many years, you were, pushing games, I think, in a unique, different direction, right? And I think of, what you were doing was certainly simulations and all the sim games, and then the Sims Online. I mean, you were, pushing, and Spore even, right? I think we're moving in, different directions with, emergent behavior, right?
Yeah.
And AI and whatnot. And it's all stuff that, everyone's thinking about. But it's interesting that I think, certain aspects of the industry are moving more online. Other aspects are, trying to find, the games are becoming more persistent universes. And I think back to, what you're doing, Sims Online.
Yeah.
And that was very much sort of, going to be kind of this everlasting game and experience. So I think I always saw you as someone that always had ideas that were sort of outside the box and were also kind of centered around the player.
Yeah. I think my career is kind of aimed to be more and more toward the player-centric design.
Exactly, which I think is, a lot of the industry is moving more in that direction, right? A greater sense of agency. And you're always, in many ways, the king of sort of letting players, build a city and destroy it as they want, or build a house, The Sims. So I think you were ahead of the curve with that, and I'm just curious that, as the industry evolves, and in some ways, the tools and the technology enable developers to create even more agency, I think, right? With some of the, some of the opportunities now, I think. If it sort of makes you, I don't know, more intrigued to go back and make those kind of games because they might be easier to make now?
Well, as of maybe 20 years ago, I really never felt terribly constrained by technology.
Really?
When I started out, it was like, every little byte counted. You were building memory maps, and you had 64K to fit the whole game and data into. But at some point, it just became, okay, The only limitation really is my imagination. You know, the technology, the
Really?
horsepower we have available.
So with
is
something like
high.
Spore, you were literally, it's like there was no limit. The
Well,
team,
the animation system on Spore was like a huge technical challenge. We had to kind of make sure we could nail that first.
Yeah.
But the rest of that was just brute force, really. You know, throwing really good engineers at it.
So I'm curious for you on like a personal level. It felt like you kind of took a break.
Yeah.
What I mean, and you know, I always saw that as like I was disappointed in a way that someone as inspiring as you sort of decided that it's like, hey, you know, I need a break. And I don't know if that was more of a personal thing versus a burnout versus just sort of, you know, not, you know, you're a creative guy, and I imagine you have so many ideas of things that you would like to build.
Well, that was the thing. You know, I was actually building things that weren't games, you
Right.
know, and so, you know, I did a TV
We lost you.
series, you know, with current TV.
Yep.
Did some robot stuff. But actually, it was the robots that got me into games in the first place, you know. When I was younger, I was building these, you know, robots out of spare parts and things, and I bought my first Apple II computer to connect to the robots, and that's when I taught myself to program. And then I got sucked into the game industry from there.
But did you, so when you decided to kind of stop making games, was it just the other things became more interesting to you at the time?
Well, when we were in the Stupid Fun Club, we were trying a lot of other different projects.
Yeah.
You know, some toy design, television production, product design, things like that.
Yeah.
And learned a lot from that. You know, but for me, it was more of a learning experience, really.
Yeah. And coming out of, you know, Spore and EA and all that, I mean, I'm sure that was also trying in some ways, you know, sort of going through a big project like that in a big company.
Yeah, Spore, you know, and in fact, you know, comparing Spore to the team I've got now, it's, you know, 120, 130 people versus 10, you know. And 10 was kind of like where I was, you know, in the early part of my career, and I really enjoyed, you know, working in teams that size.
Yeah. Tell us a bit about kind of the new company and the new project.
Well, the new company is called Gallium. Officially, it's Gallium Artistic Services.
Okay.
Gallium is really cool, by the way. It's a metal that actually will melt in your hand.
I've
at
seen
body
the
temperature.
YouTube videos are amazing.
Yeah, it's really cool.
Yeah.
It's not toxic like mercury, so you won't kill
You didn't
yourself.
bring any with you?
No, actually, you have some at home. But,
Okay.
but the project we're working on is called Proxi. And like you're talking about getting more and more centered on the player, that's what got me very interested in kind of how do you get into the player's mind and make that the landscape of a game. So it actually kind of starts with memories. There was an old science fiction movie I loved called Forbidden Planet.
Of course.
And you know, they discover this alien civilization that's long gone, but they have these huge, powerful machines, and apparently, you know, one of the humans puts this thing on his head, and it seems to make him smarter. What he doesn't realize is it's actually amplifying his id as well, his subconscious. And that becomes the plot of the movie. You know, his id is causing chaos on the planet without him knowing it. But I love this idea that, you know, 80% of our intelligence, 80% of who we are is kind of invisible to us. You know, we have a vague sense of it, but the way we think, how we make associations, how we behave, you know, is something that is still kind of murky, you know, like the bottom part of an iceberg. And so I began getting interested in kind of, you know, how could I map that? How could I, you know, through entertainment, through some type of game, start building maps of your subconscious? And
How do you do that?
well, I kind of came down to the idea that it really comes down to memories.
Okay.
You know, if you think about like the 2 or 3 dozen most important memories in your life, and how they shaped you, you know, they really kind of changed the way you thought, or the way you make associations, the way you think about people or places or activities. So that really is kind of the starting point for Proxy, is you put memories from your life into it, very simply. And we have different ways to do that. You can tell it a story. You can actually build little things like in a snow globe, make a little kind of diorama. But these now go onto a landscape that you get to kind of craft. And so these memories, you know, the ones that are more similar, you tend to group together. You get rewarded for that. There's a whole resource allocation game.
Okay.
But eventually you end up with this little world of your memories and connections, and they have dynamics between them. That's kind of
how do the memories connect to each other?
through associations.
Okay.
You know, so you might have a memory of canoeing on this lake, you know,
Yes.
when you were a kid, but then later you have a memory of buying a canoe with your wife over here, or you know, or it might be through emotions. You know, so every memory has 6 kind of categories to it. It has people, places, things, activities, emotions, and time.
Okay.
And it's just open keywords. You know, time could be summer, or it could be July 30th, or it could be, you know, late night.
Okay. So catalog memories from your life.
Right. But then underneath the hood, we have an AI that's trying to look at the conceptual meaning of these associations.
Okay.
So fish is closer to turtle than it is to skyscraper.
Yes.
And without going into a lot of detail here, then the computer starts building other maps.
Yes.
This is your map of your memories, but the computer starts building maps of the way you think, like your phobia map or your social map.
Okay.
And it also starts looking at how the way you think and the associations you have about the world differ from most other people. What are the things about you that make you the most unique? And then it can actually drill in and start asking you questions and giving you little mini games, trying to find out why you think spiders are fun instead of scary, or whatever it is that makes you unique.
Interesting. So the gamification of it is sort of the computer coming back at you, trying to help you understand
these
yourself
are stages.
better?
You start with the memories, and then the computer starts building these other maps and starting asking you questions. But eventually, we build an avatar of your subconscious, your id, which we call the proxy.
Okay.
And now this, id can interact with other ids, other friends' ids, or they can be also fictional or historical. So you can see how your id would, interact with Karl Marx or Homer Simpson or something.
And is that like a scenario where is it interactive? Like how will the ids interact?
Well, it's going to be through this kind of graphic language thing, but we're going to build social gaming around that as well.
Okay.
Plus, your memory landscape is actually a little planet of your memories that is your private. In fact, that's inside the proxy's head. His brain really is your little memory planet. But you can have external worlds that you share with friends or family, where you have shared memories. Now it looks at, you remember this, event that way, I remember it this way.
Yep.
And we build social gaming around that. But really, I just am fascinated how we can use gaming and entertainment to learn more about ourselves. Almost like an X-ray machine or something.
Yeah, because I imagine the AI, are you thinking it will pose questions to you, and hopefully you will realize things about yourself or change things about yourself potentially?
Well, I think it's going to ask questions to understand you, and then find ways to present it back to you in ways that you hadn't thought of before.
I see. Interesting. Look at yourself from sort of a different perspective. And,
and start realizing just like little things that you kind of maybe knew in the back of your mind. When I first was playing with this, I put in like 3 dozen memories from my life, and I started all of a sudden getting these maps and seeing these associations that I never really understood that I had, but looked totally, real and positive to me.
What did you learn about yourself?
Well, I mean, just little things like I have an association between my father and Sunday. Long story, but my father would take me golfing every Sunday. He was really into golf, and I was a kid, and he was with all of his friends. He was the only one that brought his kid along. But I had a strong association on Sundays with him, before he passed away. And a lot of things like that. Also, the way the emotions you associate with certain people. So there's a map of the people you know, and now you can see, what kind of activities you associate with that person, what kind of feelings, places. And so when you start triangulating these things and building these kind of multidimensional maps, it feels like you're seeing something that's almost spooky. Other people look at my maps and it doesn't make any sense to them, but to me, it's almost eerie. It's like this, self-reflection.
Okay. So that's self-reflection, and then you have this proxy that you said can interact with historic figures or friends on a social map. So how does that game sort of evolve over time once you kind of have built your proxy? Like, what will that proxy look like 2 months later?
I think that, that's part of the social gaming, the proxy part. I think that the world, your memory world, is something that gets richer and richer, and there's a lot of resource allocation, motivational structures, achievements, that kind of thing. But I think for me, I've always loved building things. SimCity really was kind of my attempt at building, recreating a train set, model train set. And this, the idea that the landscape now represents me and the way I think. Now these open a lot of other possibilities that we can put other games on top of that landscape, built around you.
I was going to say, because, once you have this sort of, proxy of you.
Yeah, it's just a deeply personal thing,
Yeah.
But as you can tell, I don't really have the elevator pitch field.
No, but you just think in the world of, deep fakes and neural learning and all this stuff, it's like, is there an idea that now there's sort of like there is, a Will Wright brain, sort of in a way?
Well, also, I mean, I think a lot of people have been surprised by how quickly AI has suddenly progressed.
Yeah.
For 20 years, it was like, it's right about there, right about there, right about there. And starting about maybe 5 years ago, it really started hitting, the steep part of the curve.
Yeah.
And so we can do a huge amount now with machine learning all of a sudden that opens new possibilities,
Yeah, I was going to say, and so how do you think machine learning ties into an idea like this? Is it sort of like that, the memories and the data that are going into this, eventually it's going to get, it's going to get to a point where.
Well, once we have enough people and
Yeah.
enough of these memories put in, and now we can start looking for patterns, across these people. And the idea that we understand how you think, we can actually, start orienting the game more toward what you like or dislike. And that to me has always been a fascinating kind of possibility because, movies, books, linear media, it's always going to be the same. We're going to go see the same Jurassic Park, right? But games, everybody has a unique experience. But the other thing about games is games are more malleable than linear media. So games have the possibility to kind of evolve to fit you.
Yeah.
And I kind of love this idea that as I play a game, it starts learning more and more about me, and then it actually starts modifying its rule structures, its parameters, to kind of fit me better, kind of to become, it's a little scary because it might become like self-addictive,
Yeah.
But I think games have that possibility.
Oh, for sure. And I mean, there have been games back in the day where it's like, this difficulty will auto-scale based on,
right,
it's like
yeah,
it's a challenge. but
DDA systems,
Exactly, but it's not too challenging that like you'll get an extra health pack.
Yeah, that was like the very earliest
early
like,
sense-
little bit of that. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and now, as you said, getting to the point where literally it will kind of know you and be able to, characters might say things when they talk to you.
Yeah,
in a
I
certain way,
mean,
and it's-
we've got these funny little, Siri, things that we talk to right
Yep.
now, which, when I was a kid, my favorite movie was always 2001: A Space Odyssey, and I saw it when I was 7 years old. And the space thing was cool and all that, and I actually believed it. I actually thought we'd be on the moon with these giant lunar bases by then. But the thing that really stuck with me, though, was how. The idea that these guys were talking to a machine, it just fascinated me that one day, machines might talk. And then it happened. It was like, okay, that was kind of disappointing, But, the idea that the machine can understand me, though, and become a tool in that sense still fascinates me.
So something like this Proxi, once it's built and you have it, is it the kind of thing that you could think could also like hook into other games and sort of like start to influence, when I'm playing Cyberpunk, it knows my Proxi, so it's going to change the dialogue and the characters because it's going to kind of know
If you think
better?
of your Proxy as the underlying data set, yes.
Yeah.
Really, we're building this multidimensional data set about
Exactly.
how we think that you see the world.
Exactly.
Now, from that, we can build a lot of other things. Even the landscape that you're building these memories on, could easily become the landscape for other apps or games that you play on top of it.
Right, which would be fascinating. I mean, it's like, it's dangerous, but it's also, potentially intriguing that sort of, if people trust to sort of share everything.
Well, that's one of the kind of tricky parts about this whole thing is that there are probably a lot of things that, you very personally don't want to reveal. And so we have to be very careful about the trust issue. That this is your private world. Nobody can see it. Only things they see are the external worlds where you choose to put the memories out into those worlds. So we need to make that very clear to the player. But, it's also a generational thing. I think my generation kind of had this firm idea of what privacy was. I think the generation that kind of came up after me has a much looser idea. They put everything on Facebook and all that. So privacy is kind of a nebulous concept, I think, for the next generation.
But you said, because I'm sure they're positive memories, but also sad memories, terrifying memories.
Oh,
and
yeah.
deeply personal memories.
Yeah.
You sort of express in some way.
And, there's a sentiment analysis that goes on. So, parts of your planet that have the sad memories have different weather. They have storms and stuff, rain. So we try to, visualize it in a way to where I've always liked using spatial interfaces, to understand things, even things that are not spatial to begin with.
And I'm sure with some of these memories, there are people that have sort of subconscious memories that influence them in ways that they don't realize. So it's the thing is, you ask people the 3 memories that matter the most to them.
Right.
Maybe these surface memories that actually don't, aren't the ones that are really controlling them. But they need almost to process that. So can you talk a bit about sort of how you'll keep contributing memories, or the computer will keep?
Well, I
pushing
think
it
that that's where the social side comes in, because you might be forgetting these memories, but your family, your mother, your friends might remember them, and they might put that in the shared world, and okay, I'm going to bring that into my world. That was a memory that contained me.
So you have something that's a deep regret in your life that maybe someone else would connect. I mean, it's fascinating to see how that could all play out as people.
Yeah, we haven't worked out all the details of this yet, so a lot of questions I can't really answer, specifically. But, it's basically the direction I kind of want to go right now, and I'm just doing it because I enjoy it,
So, I mean, as you said, it's such an interesting idea, but how does it manifest itself? We know you're working on this, it's coming to mobile, but, I mean, is it something where you're going to kind of like early access it and people will start playing with it, or where are you at in bringing this to life?
Well, actually, we're looking at it coming out this fall, so we've been working on it for quite a while.
Wow.
We've just been, haven't revealed it yet.
Okay.
But I think we have had testers testing different stages of it up to this point.
Okay.
We've just been keeping it kind of closed door.
But still, people are entering their memories now and starting to build a little bit of a social net.
We're,
of all these
we're
things.
analyzing the data sets and stuff like that. So.
Wow. It's fascinating to see how this is going to come to life. And so, so later this year, you think people will be able to get this on their phone and start to kind of like be a part of it and contribute to it?
And, like I said, there'll be different stages to it. The memory creator, then the world creator, then the proxy, But, it's also just kind of fun working on a small team on something where you can just go wherever you want creatively. It's not like build the next World of Warcraft or build this, or this is the category that's selling this year.
No, I love that you're starting it small, but as I said, I think where this can go once you have these memories and how they can sort of be imported.
Yeah.
Much like you import your friends list into, Steam or Epic Game Store or something. Now, if you could import your memories, and that could somehow start to slightly shade or
and you have all these services that really are like photo sharing, like Facebook posts and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But it's not really photos that people want to share; it's memories. And a lot of these memories are things that happened a long time ago. You have no photos of.
Exactly.
And so, how do we make kind of a format to where you can now think of, okay, that's a memory. This is the format for a memory.
No, and I think you're right. And then how that can sort of influence, as you said, affect people, even bring people together in some ways, right?
Yeah, and the idea that that's who you are. There have been a lot of science fiction stories about that. One of my favorite Star Trek episodes was Next Generation. I forgot the name of the episode, but Captain Picard is zapped by some alien probe on the bridge, and he falls unconscious. He wakes up on this alien planet, and he ends up living a whole life there. He's trying to tell everybody he's a starship captain, but they say, no, you had a flu, you were delusional. And after a few years, he finally accepts that and lives out his entire life on this planet. And later, he finds out that, there's a rocket being sent up from the planet, and they realize the planet's doomed, their sun's about to go nova or something. And then he wakes up on the bridge, and he's only been out for 20 minutes. Yet he has memories of an entire lifetime. And I love that episode. And there have been a lot of other things, a lot of other stories like that, that basically if you wipe somebody's memories, implant new ones, they're a different person. That's who you are.
It's a fascinating field, and as you said, I think how this can apply to games has much more of a, much more a macro story beyond just even, I think, Proxi about, if you're able to build this.
I think games is kind of a limiting term also.
Yeah.
In fact, I think a lot of the things I've done really aren't games. They're more toys.
That's true.
Things like SimCity. There's not really a win-lose in SimCity.
Yep.
And every player kind of comes to it with their own goal.
Right, interactive simulation toy. It's like something that's,
But when somebody sits down to play SimCity, some people will say, what's the biggest city I can build?
Right.
Or I want the least crime or the happiest residents, whatever it is. But the player actually comes up with a goal structure. Like I hand you a basketball, here's a ball.
Right.
And you can just play with the ball, or you can actually make rules and, play basketball or baseball or whatever.
You're right, and same with this. There's no win state. It's sort of like it's an
ever-evolving
so
it's more
world.
a toy that, I think every user can hopefully kind of take in the direction they want to.
Fascinating. Well, we're so excited that you're kind of back in building this and coming so soon, and I can't wait to see where it's going to go. But
I can't either.
I think we all have questions about how this is actually going to work, but it sounds really fascinating.
So do I.
So, we will check it out later this fall. Ladies and gentlemen, let's give it up for the great Will Wright. Thanks, Will. That was fantastic. Thank you.